I'm Joey.
I'm Jason.
And this is Metal
Monster
Review. Today we're going back to the 80s. Hell, that was a fun decade for horror movies. We're going to do with one here that really doesn't get a lot of credit, but it's a killer fucking movie. We're going back to 1981, and we're going to discuss the 1981 version of My Bloody Valentine. This is a really cool little movie here. The synopsis of this movie is basically this. It's taking place in a town with miners, and they're working in this mine, and they have their annual St. Valentine's Day dance. And it's a big fucking blowout. It's a big party. Everybody always rants and raves about it. So you have a group of miners down there working in the mines, and the supervisors who are supposed to be keeping an eye on them decide, hey, we're going to duck out of work early. We're going to head to the party. Mine ends up caving in, leaving somebody behind. And they find him, and he ends up killing the supervisors who left him behind in a graphic, gruesome way with a pickaxe. And 20 years later, murders start happening again. Jason, would you like to talk about My Bloody Valentine?
Yeah, like you said, this is a cool little movie. Not a lot of people talk about this when you talk about slasher movies. It's always Halloween, Friday the 13th, but this should be right up there with them.
Yeah, it's a really cool little slasher movie.
Yeah, like you said, it's what he's mentioned about the little guy getting trapped down there and got revenge of killing the supervisors. Well, then 20 years go by and they want to start doing the Valentine's Day dance again. And then bad stuff starts happening.
Absolutely. So what will happen 20 years later here is, say the chief of police will get a box of chocolates, but it's not really chocolates inside. There might have a severed heart in there. And it's like, well, shit, Harry Warden's back. You know what I mean? So the whole town's in an uproar and they're panicking. Well, at least the police department, the mayor. Now you got these guys who are working in the mines who are like, oh, hell, to hell with that old story and that legend. Let's party and get drunk anyway.
Yeah, it's the police want to keep it hush hush, so when they don't want people thinking that this nut job's back in town again.
So you're right. I mean, they're trying to keep it on the down low there, and they're just trying to keep law and order. But hey, you got a group of these workers, and they just want to fucking party, man. And one thing I've noticed about this movie was filmed in Canada, and it feels like a big commercial for Moosehead beer.
I was going to say something about that earlier. Is that actually a beer?
Yeah, Moosehead is a legit beer. And years ago, and now we're going back some time here, but a local beer distributor here used to sell that. And when you would pick up a case of it, because I've actually had a chance to try Moosehead. It's been a long time, but I've tried it. You used to, once you buy a case of it, you would open it up and there would either be a hat or a t-shirt or something inside there promoting Moosehead beer. So really what this was a 1 hour and a half promotional advertisement for Moosehead beer. That's what this was with murder.
And this movie, I don't want to talk too much about all the details. It has a cool little ending. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it. But it's just an enjoyable movie to watch. I think all the actors, they did a pretty good job. Some of them were a little annoying. You get a nice little love triangle in here.
Yeah.
But one of my highlights is Hollis's mustache.
Oh, yeah, that was killer.
Good Lord.
The way he chugged the Moosehead beer with that killer mustache, But as you mentioned, I am going to elaborate a little bit with what you said. We have a character in this movie. His name is TJ. And basically, he worked in the town. His dad owned the mines. And he ended up skipping town and going out west. He had a girlfriend at the time, but he kind of just left her high and dry. Didn't write, didn't call, just up and skipped town. Nobody heard from him. Nobody knew where the hell he went. And then several months later, maybe a year or whatever, I don't even know if they gave a time frame, but he returns back to town and he ends up working for his dad in the mines. And it turns out that his girlfriend at the time, who he hightailed it the fuck away from, she has a new boyfriend and he works with him, and it's an old buddy of his, and there's tension to be had there. We'll leave it at that. So there's a lot of tension there and fighting between the two of them, fighting over, her name was Sarah, I believe. So they're fighting over the old girlfriend there. So you do have that subplot going on along with the murders.
And I know I do this in some of the movies. I like to talk about a little common sense, but if there was a big dance coming up, you're all excited for it, and they canceled it, I understand you're going to be bummed out. But if all places to go party, don't one of them guys have their own goddamn house?
Yeah, so they decided to go party up in the mines. You're right. I never thought of that. It's like, well, wait a minute. Does nobody have a house here?
A house or a field nearby?
I get that. Is there no bars open? It's not like everybody just met at Hollis's house. You know what I mean? And it's like they brought the beer and brought the food, and well, just partied at Hollis's place. But then yet again, if that happened, we wouldn't have a movie here to talk about today. So, but this movie's got some pretty cool kill scenes, and you have this local, basically this soothsayer who works in the bar, and he owns the bar, and he's constantly worrying about it. It's like the old Friday the 13th, the crazy Ralph, hey, you little assholes, you're doomed if you party on Valentine's Day, but thanks for supporting my bar and buying beer from me, so... I never thought about that point, but yeah, I guess, but then yet again, if they all went up and got boozed up at Hollis's house, we wouldn't have a movie here. So, but one kill scene that I want to mention is the character's name was Mabel, and she ran a laundromat. She was friends with the mayor, and she ends up getting killed. And one thing that I like about this is when you see the killer, he's wearing that gas mask, he has all the mining equipment with him. He's got the helmet, the pickaxe, and he ends up killing her and then dumping her body into the dryer at her own laundromat, which I thought was kind of unique and original there, really.
And then you see when the sheriff comes in, that's like his little actions, like smelling like. And he smells his coffee or something because he knows something isn't right here.
Yeah, you can smell something in the air.
I like that little note that he put on there. How did it go? Roses are red, violets are blue. Now you're dead. Something like that.
And you two are dead, and you will be too. Yes. You know what I mean? But this movie had some pretty killer death scenes in it too, and the bartender's death was pretty cool too because he wanted to scare the hell out of these guys. You know what I mean? So he set up like a mannequin that would open the door, and the pickaxe would come up and then come down. And he was pissing with that a couple of times around with it and just opened up the door, and finally it comes up and gets him instead, and which was a killer scene as well. So there's a lot of cool death scenes in this. This to me is an underrated and overlooked slasher movie. This is one that I would say, hey, by all means.
Definitely it is.
Yeah, check it out. This was a fun one. And in order for us to review this, we sat down and watched this again because for me, it's been a lot of years since I've seen it. And I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
But I was thoroughly entertained, even though I haven't seen this in a long time. But this is one I would say most definitely check this one out.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that they have another, like an extended version out that has some more.
Yes. The DVD version shows a little bit more of the death scenes, which is kind of cool to watch.
Because I heard when this came out, they had to delete like 9 minutes of the movie because they said it was too gory. Then he brought to my attention that, hey, on DVD, they added some of the scenes in there.
Yes, you can actually see the elaborated death scenes a little bit more on the DVD version. But if you've never seen this, I'll tell you where you can find it right now. It's currently on Pluto TV. So if you have Pluto, check it out. You'll see it there. You can't miss it. And this is one definitely worth watching. So if you like what you heard today, be sure to subscribe to Metal and Monster Reviews. I'm Joey.
I'm Jason.
And this is Metal
Monster
Review.